All right, welcome back. It all comes down to this one game to decide who is going to be facing Death Fox in the upper bracket final.
See, coming into this, I wanted a 2-0 just because of the heat alone. I won't even lie to you.
Oh, I
But
mean, yeah,
I'm definitely happy that it comes down to this final game because both teams have shown points of excellence, but then both teams have also shown points of where it looks like they're trying to run down the game. So we're seeing kind of both sides of it right now.
Mhm.
And Blue Whites need a lot of adaptation. They need to change their draft entirely. We don't want to see no more Karma. We need Bad Plan something different. It looks like he's been outshone in both games in top lane, despite winning the first game. They didn't have the same mid lane pressure this game for Kindred, so Kindred just didn't get to do Kindred things. She got put behind, no pressure to go forward for her, and no front line to help her go forward either.
Yeah. And as you said, I feel like it really comes down to the draft because yes, I said that Blue White technically didn't make any mistakes in the game and Nyyrikki just got ahead, but the mistake was the fact that they didn't have any way to do anything. The draft just didn't allow them those options. And game one, they had the Galio, it prevented the play from Nyyrikki, it all went fine. But game two, they just had three passive lanes with a jungler that relies on someone being ahead. It didn't click, and Nyyrikki took advantage of that. And also, from what I've been told, Blue Whites chose to stay on red side, so we will have same sides for all three games. So really, you can't afford to be giving up champions like Xin and then playing passive.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting if they even let Xin through again. Might have to play against something completely different.
Mhm.
Abagnale still undefeated on his fresh, nonetheless. That's 5 games
Yeah.
undefeated. I mean, it's going to be a tough task because if you leave Zin open, you know they're going for the same again. He's going to start top side. He's going to work towards his bot lane and just keep them ahead.
Yeah, but then Blue Whites have banned out Ziggs, Irelia, and Viego every single game, and I'm not entirely sure if you want to substitute out any of those bans for a Xin.
Yeah, I mean, you take Zin away, they first pick Ziggs. You take uh any other ban away from that. So say Ziggs still banned and Zin gets banned, they're going to play Aurelia. There's really not much of an issue. She's flexible. Ziggs is flexible. Viego speaks for himself. It is very, very difficult, and this is what I mean. On current patch, there's so many important bans right now that you have to be really careful with what you're doing.
Yeah, and also hopefully Blue Whites will be able to use their last pick effectively, because I believe it was a Morgana on R5 last game, which didn't really have that much impact. I mean, I could definitely see the way in which they're going to have the Varus Morgana poke lane transition to the mid game great comp works fine. Um, yeah, if you don't fall behind, which is pretty difficult in that sort of composition.
Yep. Um, like I said, I want to see more frontline for this team. I want to see something like the Galio again, because when they had the Galio, they was able to stop people ganking. They was able to stop people going forward. They was able to even force on the AD carry, where Jinx was out of position a few times in this game, a fair few. Where if you had an engaged support, that's her losing a flash, that's her losing a cleanse. It's a summoner trade, and that would have been worth it.
Yeah, it absolutely would have been. However, we are now at a 1-1 in the best of three. Fun thing is that the score between those two teams also is now going to be 2-2. We had 1-1, I believe, in the regular season. So really the winner of this is going to be able to move on one series away from Talia Masters if you win this game. And if you don't, then you have to make the lower bracket run. But fortunately, you at least get put in the higher round.
Yep. Both teams just have looked very interesting at certain stages, though. So
Mhm.
I want to see if we can get a clean game from whoever's looking stronger.
Yep.
So far, it's just really hard to tell. It makes you think that after last game, maybe it was just Nyyrikki trolling game one. Maybe it was just them trying something and it didn't work. Maybe it wasn't Blue Whites playing good, but we don't know till we actually see how they're going to change.
Yeah, and bans are staying largely the same as game 2. I expect them to be okay, that is a Viego before Irelia. So either they are thinking about the Irelia ban still, or maybe they just decide to leave it open.
See, the other thing they could have done, they could have left Viego open. So you have Gwen and Viego open, and you take that trade. But looks like they're not up towards it. Aurelia is open. They're forcing the issue. They're saying you take Zin or Aurelia. We're going to take the other one. Whatever you don't take, we're taking the other one.
I mean, hopefully that's going to be the plan. Nyyrikki's still playing by the same cards, and it makes sense. Flipper had a great game too, where he actually really got to shine, and there it is. Hopefully no more karma for Bad Pie. Although I
That's
don't see where it's
definitely
gonna
Aurelia
go.
bad pie. Definitely.
Hopefully.
But that's one of the better options which I've been waiting for. I didn't want to call it out too early because it's not something a lot of teams are willing to play. And it seems odd to say that because Diana is one of the best picks you can take into Xin. But so many teams just don't want to play the Diana. It's just it's it's weird to say. It's weird to say that such a strong pick is being questionable when people are like, okay, should we play it? Should we not? When 90% of the time it should be a yes.
100%. I mean, yeah, for sure. That being said, we have now a lot of insanely aggressive champions. I have a feeling like this game 3, both teams are just throwing down the gauntlet and we're going to see fights all over the place. Because it is Irelia Diana for the first rotation for Blue Whites, immediately responded by a Kali and Callista. So that is just a hell of a lot of power on
The
both sides.
I already like Blue White's comp. You have Galio to
I
back
know.
up Diana and Aurelia. It just adds to the dive attempt and gives you more AoE. And talking of AoE, they have Diana ultimate, they have Aurelia ultimate, they have Galio taunt and Galio ultimate. There's so much AoE to deal with there that playing this game as Callista is going to be so difficult.
Yeah, especially that you kind of need to go for an engaged support if you're Nyyrikki, because otherwise Callista is going to be pretty, wasted potential, I guess you could say. But that means that the peel is going to be very sparse. And so we might just find ourselves in a situation where both comps are mostly centered around engage, and whoever finds the early game lead will be the one with the upper hand in this game.
Yeah, I'm mainly interested to what AD carry they're going to lean towards because another AD carry should get banned here to limit the champion pool. They might have to fall back to the Ezreal. It's going to be difficult. I don't think Jinx is going to be the right answer because a lot of your
Oh,
team is
no.
going to be going forward. So protecting the Jinx is going to be that much harder.
I mean,
So
yeah, I was gonna say I'm thinking Samira, because you want to go forward. Well, pick an AD carry that goes forward with you.
yeah,
Blue White's completely changing up the pace from the first two games. They were, the playing comps, which, yeah, cool guys, we can scale. We're fine. To yeah, let's just go in. Let's see, can they stop us? I don't think so.
you know what else works here as well? They could still take Rel. They
Oh
could go
god.
Samira Rel,
Oh.
and it is still a dangerous combo. Because Galio can just go to that mid lane. It's not going to be too much of an issue to play into Carly till she gets kills and items, which Galio's base damage is a very high early game. If you underestimate this man, he will solo kill you.
Yeah, have a set now being locked in, so really taking advantage of the, Blue Whites trying to run into Nyyrikki. Will be able to flip someone back, but I agree with you. Rel looks pretty fun here, to be honest, and I would be laughing if it gets locked in because that means that we have 10 champions whose main theme is either going in or following someone who goes in.
Go hard or go home is definitely a good way of saying it, but I do think this was a smart change. Having the Silas with how many good ultimates you can see on the enemy team is very good for him. He can take the Callista ult, he can bind people, so he can buy that item, bind them so he chooses who he throws in, which probably will be leaning towards either Lastis or Deferent.
Yeah.
You have the set ultimate, which again just speaks for itself. Someone goes in, you throw them back into their own team, and then your own team follows as well. So might see a bit of ping pong here. And interesting enough, it's looking like Wazen is the one who's going to be playing set here.
Ooh. Yeah, to be honest, I wasn't quite expecting that, but I mean, it works as well. Petoska have shown that they are very much worth their weight in this team comp, and Wazen should be very much fine on set. The engages on Yone were clean. Having access to those tools is also going to be quite insane. And all I'm gonna say is this is going to be a madhouse. This is going to be a game where I just expect constant action, and I can't tell you who's favored to win. I will be able to tell you probably 10 minutes into the game, but right now I have no idea.
You know the best part about this? Petoska has looked better out of the two top laners so far.
Mm-hmm.
And now Bad Pie is on his main champion, which is Aurelia. but you have to play into Ignite TP, makes it even harder.
Yeah.
Like most of the time you see in Akali, you have to match that Ignite. You have to get rid of your flash no matter who you're playing. It generally is the way it goes. And it's difficult because that's going to deny a lot of the healing. But Aurelia's early game pressure is kind of unmatched on current patch.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I'm just gonna trust you on this one. I am looking forward to a game. It is the deciding one as well, and both teams are really sort of ready to leave it all on the Rift. Also, one thing, maybe you'd know, Kalista, when Silas is using the passive, the item, do you get the passive as well? You know, the extra damage on auto attacks to the person you bound to.
I'm not too sure off the top of my head. I've just been informed, sorry, that we will be having a pause.
Okay.
Don't know why just yet, but we will be heading into the game as soon as we can. But for the moment, we are paused here at the state. Sorry to kind of avoid your question, but
Yeah,
I wanted
maybe
to.
our producer can tell us. There we go. We just throw it over to them.
I wanted to nudge towards that jungle matchup again because
Okay.
this time there probably isn't going to be much thrown towards bot lane, which is weird to say. Both teams are going to want to snowball these top laners because they're both extremely snowbally. When Aurelia gets one kill, she can snowball out of control. Same goes for Akali. So I want to see if they're going to adapt or they're going to play that bot lane game again.
Yeah, or maybe we just see one team who, you know, decides to say, okay, we trust our top laner not to fall too far behind and play towards the bot side. I think it's a dangerous game, also given what you said about the nature of the Akali versus Aurelia matchup. I think it's likely we see both junglers starting both pathing towards top side, but realistically you can gank any lane, and it will just work. But welcome to the Rift, everyone, for the last time today. These teams fighting to stay alive in the upper bracket. The winner will be only one win away from Talia Masters, and the loser will have to do some catching up.
This is all to play for, and man, if the drafts say anything, it's going to be a very aggressive, very brawly game, very skirmishy. We're going to see a lot of back and forth and a lot of aggression out from both of these. Doran's Blade Salt and Aurelia as well, so it's going to look for a lot of kill pressure in that top side.
Yeah, and Flipper starting with the sweeper, taking out the ward that last is put down before recalling. And honestly, I don't remember last time I saw 7 Conquerors in one game.
I didn't realize that too till I just looked now.
Yeah, it's glorious.
Set is going to get level 2 first now because he took that ward. It's something what we need to think about. He's going to have that early pressure. He does have good base damages early. That stun does about 90 damage. And then he's going to hit level 2 a lot faster than the Silas to be able to assert more pressure to back up the Xin Zhao. But we have a lane swap, actually.
Yeah, we have Wizen going into bad pie in the mid lane, and it is going to be Pomo going to the top side against Petolska's Akali.
Ooh, don't underestimate the set. I just said this man's damage is going to pressure you. Both these champions, very strong early game, but Set having that extra damage on his right hook is going to be really backing him up in terms of damage here. And Aurelia did start the W, so isn't going to be able to stop him just yet.
Yeah, Wizen playing around this wave also extremely well. You can see how he's zoning Bad Pie away from any last hits, and is just going to be able to crash that tower. You would assume Bad Pie picks up quite a few of those CS, but Wizen getting the perfect CS score, I believe, in the first 2 waves, and, you know, you love to see that. If you're Nyyrikki.
You do love to see that, and it's kind of interesting that Aurelia opted towards that W start early. I still would have went for the stun into this matchup. But nonetheless, at level 3, bringing the pain.
Yeah, Bad Pie getting kind of clapped by Wizen, not gonna lie, in this mid lane, 1v1. But also bot lane, I feel like we need to put some attention to it, because Azither has a massive CS advantage as Desrim and Defrin unable to really make anything happen in this matchup.
Yeah, you kind of expect a bit bullied into lane with Kalista and Leona. Generally should be very dangerous for you to ever walk up to that wave, especially pre-level 6.
And you can see that being reflected in the CS right now. But Weizen deciding to do something with the priority gain in the middle and walks up into the river just to back up Flipper, as we are potentially going to see a bit of a skirmish around this scuttle. That is a lot of pings from Nyyrikki. Lastis realizes what's going on and bugs off. As Badpipe recall to the base will teleport into the mid lane, and now Bagnala is there to cover. Nyyrikki are just going full gas. They're making sure they get everything they can on the map.
This is a big F for Badpie. You can't walk up here. Since are taking top scuttle brings you that pressure. Your junglers in base, they're about to get double scuttle. This is huge for Nyyrikki.
Yeah, Nyyrikki are playing the rotations so well. It all starts with the mid lane pressure. Weizen finds the prior in the mid lane, forces Badpie to recall, takes the top scuttle, and now Lastes has to recall because there's nothing for them to do on the map. Nyyrikki walk down, take the second scuttle, just beautiful early game play.
Yeah, and Galio showing up here to try help break the freeze, but Abagnale hasn't left. You're not going to get this freeze broken very easily, but it is starting to crash into tower, but Weizen going to be happy to pick them up. He hasn't gone to base just yet either.
No, has not. Abagnale's recall does get interrupted by Badpie, just a small bit of nuisance, really. Nothing too impactful. However, where that leaves us is really, up to question. The gold lead across the map is actually slightly in favor of Bluewhites, presumably thanks to that top lane advantage for Pomo.
And this feels like a bit of a meme to say, but we're kind of just going to have to wait till level 6 to see any interaction. I mean, not even both laners, all laners are playing generally really smart and not taking any risks just yet.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, it is Nyyrikki who are, getting, I guess, the small objectives on the map with the Scuttlers, but Bluewhites are doing nothing wrong. As you said, all of the laners are playing it extremely well. Yes, Badpie is falling behind in CS, but it's negligible. It is 4 right now, which could as well be 0, considering how, much Weizen has been doing around the map.
Yep, and she's going to be able to catch up a little bit on this wave. Weizen does not have TP, has the Ghost instead, able to stay on people pretty nicely later in the game with that, so you will see that picked up fairly commonly. But Aurelia able to catch up a little bit on the CS department. Probably is going to pick up that Vamp Scepter and slowly work towards being able to fight the set in the mid lane.
Yep, it is 2 Vamp Scepters on Badpie and Desrim, also a Vamp Scepter on Azator. However, early Dragon will be picked up by Nyyrikki without contest, as Lastis is just now entering the bot side jungle. So early objectives going the side of Nyyrikki.
Yeah, which you kind of expect with the early game champions they have. With having the set in the mid lane, just means that he can join Flipper at any time. You've seen the bot and mid early game pressure. The only place we've really seen pressure on the other side is to the top side, but Weizen is up here. He's level 6.
Pomo has got hijack, is going to go for the showstopper, but gets showstopper himself. There is another flip, and Petoska picks up the kill with the perfect execution. I love all those dashes. And Nyyrikki, make a practice play, get a kill.
There was no way he could go. Even while picking up the showstopper, it does not matter. And Set's not going to have much of an issue taking this fight. Aurelia is arriving, but
1v2 there might be some issue. However, Weizen just backs off instead. Gives the Scuttle over to Lastis. So, yeah, it's Scuttle for a kill. Still, Nyyrikki will take this any day, and they are now marginally ahead.
Yeah. Getting that early kill for them. Weizen finding that early game pressure to roam up towards the top side, and to be honest, there's nothing stopping him rinse and repeat. When the showstopper's back up, he can just go back top.
Yeah, or even bot lane if you really feel adventurous. Although I feel like Deference Galio might just be enough of a, warning sign, I guess, for Nyyrikki. And top lane worked, so why not do it again?
And not only that, Petoska kept his Ignite. So any healing comes out, they can use it this time round, and just negate that entirely. And by the time the showstopper is up, the perfect execution will also be up for Akali. And
well, Weizen in the mid lane might just die to back by dashing forward, picks up the kill, flashes to a Flipper, will burn the flash to equalize the kills, but Badpie coming up massive on Aurelia. And it's not over. Lastis flash in, Moonfall, and that should be a dead Zin. Flipper trying to do something last-ditch effort, but it is not enough.
Yeah, Diana at the moment where she can actually start looking for these engages, starting to look to fighting now because she's level 7. She has the move for. She is going to be a lot stronger. Here's the replay mid to note set does not have the showstopper, and that's kind of just the big difference to why they can take this fight.
Yeah, I mean, Batman has got the ultimate, you can see it coming out, and even the massive shield from the Haymaker, just not quite enough. Batman finds a solo kill, and yes, Flipper equalizes it, but it leaves more than enough time for the rest of Bluewhites to come mid lane, equalize it, and this game 3 really is something special because neither team really has a monopoly on, I guess, plays in this early game. It's just both teams trading blows.
Yeah, and there wasn't much to say about the Zinzao. There was nowhere they could go. I still think even Bad Pie played that incorrectly in the mid lane. He could have dodged the Haymaker damage with the second part of the Q, but chose not to. And that could have honestly been the difference of them living for the rest of the team to arrive.
Well, it could have, alas, we will not find out. Now, Waiting is moving top lane with the showstopper. I'm not sure if they were spotted. Definitely Pomo already just backing up from the start. Waiting, waiting for bad fight, but good awareness. Dropping the ward into the bush.
Yeah, Pomo has to be a little bit more careful after what happened last time. There's nothing stopping him going for that play again. Zin is on the top side of the map, working on that Herald by the looks of things. So
Yeah.
that's going to be a 3-man dive top.
It is going to be, and if not, then it's going to be played. However, look at Bluewhites. Defrin and Lastness are already moving in. Waizen is going to pop the ghost. Level 8, rushing towards that turret and away from the support and jungler of Bluewhites, but not going to commit for the dive. The stun landing in from Pomo, and Waizen walks away. There we go. It's just another peaceful day on Summoner Swift.
It's funny to see that ghost pop defensively, having to run away to safety, knowing that he has been spotted out. As soon as he sees that Galio, he just doesn't want any of that play. Smart decision, really.
Yeah, as you said, not taking any risks. All those laners know their limits. It feels like, I mean, not only laners, the junglers as well. Just playing as it should be. We are 10, almost 11 minutes in. The gold is even, and I love to see it. We had 2 games of a stomp, one way or another, and in this one, you can see some leads developing in lanes, but it really is nothing significant.
Yeah, it's mad to think that both teams are actually just being a bit more cautious this time around. They don't want to take any too big risks where they could lose a lot of gold. Instead, it's just, like you said, completely level pegging. 2 kills to 2, no towers taken, and gold is practically even.
Okay, Desrum getting kind of low in the bot lane. Will drop the exhaust. Here comes the Herald's entrance from Defrin. Desrum now dashing away. Inferno Trigger is going to be used, and Desrum kills just a bit in the backside. Flipper now pulled back with the Moonfall, and Bad Pie joins the fray. Cakes the kill onto Flipper, and Bluewhites with the first one of the fight. Vanguard's edge goes a bit wide, as here comes Waizen looking for a showstopper, but will back out.
Yeah, unfortunately, nothing else coming off that. They looked for that roam with Waze and they looked to try get something back. But unfortunately, too little too late. And they're looking towards the dragon now. But Wazen is still lurking around. Wazen is very strong right now. Has the showstopper available, but they're looking to collapse on him.
Yeah, Waizen doesn't have any summoners, has got the full bar, and Abagnale takes Last Destum in the middle of the fight, but finds no kills. Teleport is being challenged by Pomo. Abagnale insanely low, as they will flash away. Silence now looking for the flank, will hijack that solar flare, takes out Abagnale, trying to dash in onto Azither, takes a turret shot instead, and Waizen maybe looking for some punish. Petoska though is on the other side of the fight, trying to jump in onto Defrin, but just does not have enough DPS. At the end of the day, there's Nyyrikki who are left standing on the rift and will be turning towards this dragon.
Yeah, it's kind of a W for Nyyrikki. They come out on top for this one. They actually get the dragon as well. 5 kills to 4. Both top laners use TP here. And they're starting to build a small gold lead. It's nothing too big just yet. Like I said, it's not too much to talk about. They picked up the first 2 dragons, but this game can still go either way.
So, I mean, I'm looking at this and I don't think either team comp has any inherent advantages. I mean, I think you would agree with that, right?
Yeah, definitely. 100%.
Yeah. So, what we should be looking at is where the gold is going, because it realistically is going to be the items and the gold advantages that will make the difference. And for the Nyyrikki, they just all have one kill. I mean, I guess it's easier for Bluewhites because Bad Pie is clearly distinguishing himself as the main carry right now.
Yeah, and he's trying to show why this Aurelia is banned against him most of the time, and has Blade of the Ruined King, so he has his full item, but so does Set in this scenario.
There he does. Herald now summoned in the bot lane. Nyyrikki looking for another team play. There's 4 on... Okay, 4 on 4. Bad Pie teleports for a flank and Engage comes in from last. His Bluewhites are in a really good position here. Bad Pie is going to keep Flipper PC in the backside, whilst Desrim is going to pick up the double kill. Abagnale takes 1 kill back and it's just 2 for 1. Bad Pie unable to find any kills in the back. And we're back to even game state. Okay, top lane. I don't even know who's using which Acalio, but Pomo is going to be dashing out. Petoska on the chase now. Looking to find the kill, try and close the distance. The blast condo is within reach for Pomo. Not going to use it. He's going to try and take the juke onto Petoska. That is a massive heal with the Kingslayer. Petoska goes into the Shroud and will just nope out of this 1v1.
I can't lie, I didn't expect him to turn around. I kind of expected him to try juke over the wall, but he looked for the extra damage back in the Akali, and Akali says, this isn't worth risking. Let's not take any more. The key point about this replay bot is the engage here is great, but then you look on the backside, Aurelia is buying so much time fighting Zinza in the background that the damage for their team can't arrive to help Kalista and Leona. And Aurelia gets away with her life, which is the big take from this.
Yeah, and Desmond picks up the double kill as well. So this is really almost everything that Bluewhites would have wanted from this fight. I mean, if Last is going to survive, I guess you take that as well. But with a game as chaotic as this, you really can't just take clean W's. You're always going to be giving up something. Interestingly, no towers taken so far this game. It is 2 dragons to Nyyrikki. Next dragon up in 2 minutes. I would assume Bluewhites want to be playing around those at some point soon.
And I'm a happy man because I don't see Kraken Slayer on a Kalista this time. We actually get the Immortal Shield Bow. Both AD carries opting towards the same item. Kind of standard, really. But also, the advantage is Desrim gets to build steel caps here and get away with it.
Yeah, I mean, really the only AP damage that you have is going to be Petoska. And you've got a Galio standing in the way of that Akali. So you should be feeling fairly safe with your Desmond, but Pomo could be in a lot of trouble here. 1-on-2, great route from the Everfrost. And the hero attention from Defrin. However, Abagnale is there to follow up as well. It's honestly like, it feels like a game of chess. I mean, I don't play chess that much, so the reason it feels that way is because it's tit for tat. One team moves a piece somewhere, they try a play, the other team just responds immediately.
And talking of responding, they're looking.
Yeah, Last is getting a massive Moonfall. 1 kill picked up onto Petoska. However, how much Nyyrikki can get done in return? Look at Aster just jumping across the fight, putting a dispute into anyone, and no one is hitting this Kalista. Now Pomo is going to turn his side towards Aster, but Nyyrikki have won the fight already. It is done. 4 kills with a double kill picked up by Flipper.
You have no Bad Pie there, as much as it's a good idea. Kalista is free hitting and no one is stopping her. Kalista just had all the time in the world to do what she wants. And that is just ideal for them. Sure, you get Akali taken down, but at what risk? You lose 4 members for this.
This is the definition of not worth. And this is really the first time that we have any team this game find a massive lead. And we have a replay again. Bad Pie, as you said, not there.
Yeah, your main damage dealer at this stage in the game is just not in the fight. And look at that, Kalista just completely untouched in this entire fight. They dropped an Ignite on them, but what did that matter? It did absolutely nothing to Kalista. By the time they looked towards Kalista, the rest of the team's already dead.
Yeah, and Nyyrikki now 2,000 gold lead. This is now an actual tangible gold lead. Of course, it's, not too late for Bluewhites to come back. They still have Bad Pie, who is fairly strong, although with how this fight went down, I am starting to worry that sometimes it might not be enough.
Yeah, and this is going to be the next dragon, picked up by Nyyrikki again. Pretty much should be uncontested at this point. With Diana being on the top side of the map, there's nothing you can do about this one. Just going to be another free dragon. At this point, you kind of have to bank on a lot of your AoE hitting. Which so far, I'll be honest, Astis has found some good engages. It's just there hasn't been the follow-up.
Yeah. I think this game is extremely close. It's just that Nyyrikki are the ones who, in the clutch of the moment, are able to find enough damage, are able to find the kills, and Blue-White's not quite. I wouldn't say they're playing badly this game. In fact, there is less than 3,000 gold lead separating those two teams, and yeah, Blue-Whites just need to find a little extra. They need to find a fight that's on their terms, where they actually get Bluewhites to find some kills. Desrum can, find enough damage, and then it will all click together.
Yeah, for sure. Bluewhites getting pretty strong. It's going to build that Gore Drinker here. Needs to be a little bit tankier for his team, so it won't be a surprise if he builds that item. Kind of one of the standards right now. You tend to max W and then Q, or you can do 3 points into Q and then max W. The W did get changed, and it does reduce a lot more damage now. Up to 80% physical damage can be reduced.
Damn. Yeah, that is pretty nuts. Well, both teams, though, are standing on the top side. They are waiting, I don't know, for someone to make a mistake or for the engage to happen. You can see Defrin just covering the bush, waiting for a hero's entrance opportunity. Does get spotted by Flipper out right now. Bluewhites also was spotted on a roam up from the bot side. Will take the ward out and does not decide to go for any super aggressive plays.
And Bluewhites are just trying to clear what vision they can, but they have to be a little bit scared. They don't know where a lot of members are right now. They have not seen Xin on that ward near the Raptors because it's on the other side of the wall. So they still have little information to go on.
Yeah, and you gotta respect the engage. I mean, the Flipper 3 games on the same champion. This time going for the Gold Drinker build instead of the Lethality makes sense. There aren't really that many squishy targets for Bluewhites. And yeah, we've seen how many games it can swing. I'm talking about Flipper, looking to find something onto Pomo, but Pomo hijacks the Crescent Guard, will immediately use it, try and buy some time. Here comes the hero's entrance though, and the follow-up from last is the combo from Bluewhites is stacking up, but is there enough follow-up damage? That's the question we got asked so far. The answer is looking like yes, Desmond in the backside is going to pull the Inferno trigger, and as there falls down, but keep your eyes on Petoska, because that Akali might just wreak some havoc. A 1-on-2, can he find enough damage? Lastis falls down, but it's only Bluewhites standing in. Ace for 4, and Bluewhites clutch the fight.
The massive counter engage with the Galio there. They got the wombo combo off, and not only that, they got the backline access with Aurelia. Aurelia found her way to this Kalista. Kalista had to exhaust them, but it didn't mean anything because they had the backup of the Samira on top of that. Man, what a fight for Bluewhites, and that's a way to turn the game on its head.
Yeah, I mean, it is a way to turn the game on its head for sure, but it is a 5-4. This is still incredibly close, but this is just beautiful.
This is pretty much what you draft this comp for. You draft to get this wombo off, and Aurelia finding that Vanguard's edge to get to that back line. Just bought enough time for their team, takes down the Kalista. No more free hitting Kalista in this team fight. I mean, if you're Nyyrikki, you have to be watching this Aurelia. If you can stop her getting to the Kalista, that is one of your big win conditions. There's where a lot of the main damage is coming from.
Yeah, I agree, and with Bluewhites being now 5-1-1, he's also the main win condition for Bluewhites. It is basically one and the same win condition for both teams. If Bluewhites gets on Azother, Nyyrikki lose. If that doesn't happen, then Bluewhites lose. Well, most of the time, anyways. And now that we have this soul point for Nyyrikki, we are bound to see another chaotic team fight.
We are indeed. It's not about to stop here. They're looking to find Silas. Silas does have the showstopper right now, so decides to back away. Dragon in 30 seconds. This is going to be huge.
Yeah, Pomo hijacks the showstopper as well, so giving that extra bit of engage for Bluewhites to set up for the hero's entrance, which is not yet available. And to be honest, the cooldown is quite long, so it might not come up before the dragon. We will see. It's gonna be close either way. And yeah, this is tense. This is where the game could be decided. It is 30 seconds until the showstopper. I've now been informed by Bluewhites potentially out of position that Ibella already has to flash away, but the showstopper back gets a shutdown. Azother is already going to be killing Bluewhites, and Desert falls down. Nyyrikki will win this fight epic now with a massive solar flare. Triple kill for Azother, and Nyyrikki are going for the Baron.
Yeah, I said you're the main damage for this comp for Bluewhites. if you're this Aurelia, you can't be pathing like that, and you got punished instantly despite your team arriving. It does not mean a thing. They got completely wiped out. Azata free hitting Abagnale, stunning practically everyone there. Hit upon multiple members with that solar flare. Man, that was just a really clean fight by Nyyrikki and a really, really good punish.
Yeah, and Flipper takes the soul as well. So Nyyrikki find the Cloud Soul, they find the Baron, they find the fight. This is everything they wanted. In a game where it was all in the balance, just look at this stun.
I mean, look at where the rest of your team is. There's no way you can walk through there. And look at Callista. No one, absolutely no one. Sure, Silas finds their way onto Callista, but then Callista just gets that instant peel. Man, this is just so difficult for Bluewhites to even do anything in this scenario. You're trapped in an area where there's nothing else you can do. Silas went into the Zonyas as well, so you're gonna lose damage from him.
Yeah. And as it turned out, pick up the GA. So Blue-Whites trying to kill that Callista just got so much more difficult. And with a team fight like that, I mean, it has to come down to vision control. Blue-Whites absolutely need to get some vision and not walk into chokes like that. But with that extra defensive tool, it is still just such a much more difficult task than before.
Oh, for sure. And looking at terms of wave clear for Bluewhites, it's a lot more difficult. You have a short range AD carry, you have a Silas. Your wave clear isn't going to be the greatest against these Baron minions. It's going to be hard.
Going in, Polo finds us all. Massive taunt from Defrin. Where's the follow-up though? Keep your eyes on Bad by that Irelia absolutely must pop off. But the kills, they aren't coming through. There's Blue-Whites on the retreat. Desrim is getting very low. Bad by still healthy. But Nyyrikki, they are just too strong. They are too far ahead. They find an ace for one only. Their support dropping. And I think this is going to be it. With the dead timers this long and with the minions in base, Nyyrikki in a chaotic game 3 are going to put this statement to Blue-Whites that they were the better team of the day, as they will move on to the upper bracket finals to face DeathFox.
And how can you give flippers in 3 games in a row is questionable to me. And that was a very, very good fight from Nyyrikki again. It looked like it was taken on their terms despite the good Galio taunt. No one was on Callista again.
Yeah.
Even that Aurelia found her way to her eventually. Callista had a GA that bought enough time for the rest of the team to stop pushing back Blue-Whites, and it just meant nothing. Set was still alive. Akali has already assassinated 2 people of your team. There's nothing else you can do at this point.
Yeah, I agree with that. And honestly, I genuinely think that Nyyrikki have shown us definitively that they just were the better team on the day. The game one that they lost, it started by their mistake. I don't want to take anything away from Blue-Whites. The snow was absolutely beautiful. However, they still showed us that they are just the one step above, at least in this series, and therefore they knocked Blue-Whites down to the lower bracket.
Yeah, this team's always been scary. And they'll only have hiccups every now and then. And sure, they did game 1. And look at how well they recovered it. 2 very
Yeah.
convincing games. Sure, this game took a little bit longer for them to come online, but when they took the engages on their terms, it was always won.
Yeah, I guess it is something that you really like to see. You know, if you're a fan of the Finnish region, then Nyyrikki in the last split went undefeated, went to Telia, won groups, lost in the semifinal. Now that they are showing us that yes, they have weaknesses, but they can recover, there is maybe more hope. And man, am I looking forward to the match between them and DeathFox.
See, this is something I definitely want to touch on because going undefeated is cool and everything, but losses show you so much more. It shows you where you're going wrong, shows you where you need to improve. And it honestly helps you indirectly. And you're thinking, okay, like we want to go undefeated, but this loss can show we don't need to be playing around this lane. We don't need Wazen to be the hyper carry in this game. We can just put him on set. We have other carry roles. We have top lane, we have bot lane, and it showed that they can play through their different lanes.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I'm quite happy with Nyyrikki for sure. And Blue-Whites, I don't know if it was just Nyyrikki being their kryptonite. Game 3, they definitely showed up as well. It's just that game was bound to be flipped in one team fight at some point. So I think they have a good chance definitely in the lower bracket. They might be meeting Nyyrikki again, who knows, depending on how that matchup in the upper bracket will go. So I think both these teams have a legitimate shot at making it all the way, to be honest.
Yeah, I think Nyyrikki are definitely still the favorites, and rightfully so. Like I said, one hiccup. Other than that, they nearly found their way back into game one as it was. It's just the snowball was a little bit too much. They did the right engages, but nonetheless, we'll be seeing more of this probably very soon. And I'm all for it after what we just seen. I'm absolutely all for it.
I'm all for it as well. However, I do feel like we will be wrapping it up. So thank you all for watching, for tuning in to the round one of the playoffs. This is going to be from me and Rail. And also thank you to the production from Reed. And make sure you follow the Twitch channel so you know when we're live next with some more playoff action.